Welcome to the Champs App podcast. Champs App is your recruiting and development copilot. If you are a player, parent, or coach, make sure to check out more content and tools to help navigate the world of youth hockey at champs.app. Also, if you've listened to the Champs App podcast in the past and it has helped you with your recruiting or hockey development, please tell your teammates and friends about Champs App. It would be even better if you subscribe to the podcast and review or rate us on whichever platform you're listening to or watching us on. On today's episode, we chat with four-time Team Canada Olympian Rebecca Johnston. We discuss in great detail the Olympic athlete experience for hockey players, and we also discuss her role as a player development advisor at Lora Athletes. This was an incredibly insightful conversation with Rebecca, so please enjoy. Hopefully by now you've heard of Champs IQ, our hockey video analysis service designed to give players and families honest, objective feedback on where a player's game truly is today. I wanted to take a moment to explain how it works and, more importantly, why it's been so impactful, because honestly, we've been blown away by how consistently positive the feedback has been from parents and players after they receive their reports. Several families have already used Champs IQ multiple times this season. One parent summed it up perfectly. The analysis report itself was impressive, far exceeding my expectations or the perceived value from the website. It provides an honest and detailed assessment of the player, which is incredibly useful for identifying strengths and weaknesses. Champs IQ is built for both boys and girls, skaters, and goalies. Players submit at least 10 minutes of edited game footage, and our expert analysts deliver a data-driven evaluation across more than 15 key attributes. Every report includes an overall rating, a projection of NCAA Division I potential, and most importantly, clear, actionable development priorities so players know exactly what to work on next. We hear this from a lot of parents. I thought I knew where my player was at, but this helped me truly understand where they need to improve. That clarity is what makes Champs IQ different. Now, we know video editing can feel intimidating at first. You can absolutely edit the video yourself, and we have step-by-step guides on Champs app to help. And if you use services like LiveBarn or the Prospect Exchange, those tools can make preparing your submission fast and easy. The submission guidelines may look detailed, but once you see an example, it's very straightforward. If you want to try Champs IQ, you can use coupon code ChampsIQ10. That's EYEQ10 for 10% off your submission. Just head to champsiq.com or visit Champs app and submit your player's video today. I'm very excited to welcome Rebecca Johnston to the podcast. Originally from Sudbury, Ontario, Rebecca Johnston is a three-time Olympic gold medalist and ranks among the top 10 all-time scorers for Team Canada. Beyond the Olympics, she secured 3 World Championship titles and was a dominant force at Cornell University. Professionally, she won 2 Clarkson Cups with the Calgary Inferno and earned a League MVP award. Known for her elite skating ability, she has now transitioned into a player development role with the NHL's Calgary Flames and co-founder of Lora Advisors, where she is a player development coach. Welcome, Rebecca. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so just so folks know, we are not going to go into Rebecca's entire background and career on this podcast because this is not the first time you and I have chatted, right? If you are interested in learning all about Rebecca's development from youth hockey to being an Olympian, then I really suggest you watch the Champs Plus webinar from this past November on what made her the best of the best. And we literally covered her first getting on skates to winning multiple gold medals. So today we are here to talk about the Olympics and Lora Advisors. So we were recording this right before the first game by the Canadian women's hockey team versus Finland. And the episode is being released the day before Canada plays the US in the preliminary round. So Rebecca, let's start with the very most obvious question. How does it feel to be home instead of at the games after being at the last 4?
Yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling. Like I've been in such a good place. I feel like main reason stepping away was I wanted to start a family. So I have a beautiful baby girl. She's 10 and a half months. And so that's the main focus there for me. But I feel like, reliving and seeing everything again. And like, I think social media really makes it a lot harder too. I see, all the athletes at the Olympics, and it's been quite, like you said, over 16 years since, my first Olympics and since I haven't been there. So it's been a while since I haven't been to an Olympics. And it's definitely a weird feeling. I guess, you get just kind of brings back a lot of memories and all the fun things about being at the Olympics and how special it really is. So it's a mix of emotions because I'm definitely in a great place now with what I'm doing and starting a family, but also like Olympics is a very special time.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So we're going to start bringing back a lot of your memories. Let's start with the most
Yeah.
basic stuff, which is what's it like getting on the plane and flying overseas? And just getting ready for, like, are you flying with the team? Are you flying individually till you get there? How does it all work? And then, like, how do you get set up in the village?
Yeah, so I feel like generally, I mean, it's a little bit different this year. I think with now the professional league, everyone kind of, I think, flew from different areas and then I think met up in Toronto and then flew to Italy. But generally, we're all centralized in Calgary and we're together. So we all fly together. We're on the same flight, and it's the emotions are like you're just so excited, like there's just so much anticipation leading up to that moment, and I think the flight you're just like, oh my god, like we're almost there, like just one flight and we're going to be at the Olympics and our dreams will come true. So I think that anticipation, excitement, and everyone together on the plane, like it's a really fun time. Just like you're so anxious just to get there.
Got it. Got it. And so having been to four, I'm assuming you saw different variations of what the accommodations were like. So reportedly, the accommodations aren't so great this time around, and even the coaches aren't even staying with the athletes. What's the kind of the variation that you saw in the accommodation? What does great look like, and what does not so good look like?
Yeah, I feel like every Olympics I've been to, the accommodations have been really good. Like generally, even Beijing, like we had a common area in our own room. So we had rooms off of like a little apartment, right? And then a common area where you can sit and have a TV and you can watch. And Sochi's, all of the accommodations were great. Like in terms of like our rooms and like beds and everything were fine. And yeah, like Vancouver's was really special and pretty cool for my first one. It was like we're in these really big they're now apartment buildings. But we had like huge common areas, and then we had our own Team Canada like women's hockey room as well, where we can go and hang out. And so yeah, I've seen some photos, and yeah, they look quite small. But yeah, who knows? I mean, you're there for a short time, so not a huge deal. And usually there's um, uh, a fun area room for like all the athletes to come, where there's food and games and stuff, and you can hang out and TVs to watch and cheer on the other sports. So there are other areas for athletes to go.
Got it. So obviously Vancouver, I'm sure the food was just fine, but
Yeah.
you've been to foreign countries where the food may have been traditionally different than what you're used to. How did you deal with the different food situations, and how did how did Hockey Canada deal with the adjustments needed?
Right. Yeah. So generally, like usually you have a nutritionist for each country, right? And they all come together before the Olympics and say like what kind of foods they need, and so there is a variety and there's familiarity for every country, right? Um, yeah, I would say again, my experience was great. Beijing was a little bit different, but I'm not very picky when it comes to food. I like, I eat pretty healthy, so as long as there's some veggies and protein and all that, I'm pretty good. But I think there are some athletes that do struggle with that part, and you kind of just you just figure it out. You stick to the foods that you like, and you might be sick of it by the time the Olympics is over. But it's important, the nutrition piece of getting enough nutrients, right? Getting enough protein and carbs in your diet so that you're energized and feeling good going into your games. So for me, I had never had that issue because I've always been able to find foods that I like. I'm not like too picky, so I was fortunate that way. But to be honest, most of them have been really good.
Got it. So when you get there, I believe you probably play some kind of practice exhibition game right before you get into the preliminary games, which are starting today as we're recording this. What's it like? Just getting up to speed and just getting adjusted to. Obviously you've done this year after year after year, and you're kind of used to it. But what's it like just getting familiar with your surroundings when you first get there and going through your new routine while you're there?
Yeah, I think generally we can, especially if there's a big time zone. So not obviously in Vancouver, but for like Sochi and Pyeongchang. We'd fly somewhere in that time zone for pre-Olympic games. So we'd have a week and a half where we're getting adjusted, playing a few exhibition games. Sochi, I think we went to Vienna. And so there's not, as big of an adjustment. So we fly in early basically. So, and then we get to the Olympic Village, usually, 5 days, maybe a week. Yeah, maybe around 5 days, maybe before like opening ceremonies and our first game. So just trying to get acquainted there, and that's the hardest part, is the time change. And I mean, every athlete's different. I feel like when I was younger, I was totally fine. Then as I got older, it have started affecting me a little bit more. So I needed a little bit more time to adjust and figure out, you're sleeping. And so, I mean, we have people that help guide us that way as well. And just help us with that transition of the time change and making sure we're getting enough rest and everything. But those 5 days too, or a week before, you're exploring the village and you have practices. So you're getting acquainted with the ice, and you're getting on the ice for practices every day leading up. And then you have meetings and just, power play, PK, like 5-on-5 meetings. So all that type of stuff. Just leading up to the first game. So like, it's again, like it's just leading up, and the anticipation and excitement keeps building until that first game. But those 5 days or weeks or so before the Olympics, before the opening ceremonies is the time where you're adjusting to everything, and you're getting to know, meeting athletes, and just really just taking it all in and being in the village.
Got it. So unlike other sports, hockey, especially the women's hockey, which actually starts the day before the opening ceremonies with the preliminary games, runs almost the entire 17 days, I think, of the Olympics. It just ends on the Saturday before the Sunday of the closing ceremonies. So you can't, your events don't end and then you can go have fun, or you don't need to wait a week for you to start. I'm curious what you do in between games, because basically, for the most part, you're playing 3 games in 4 days. What do you do on that off day in between once things start?
Yeah, usually, like for the most part, yeah, we'd be completely off the ice, or or there might be an optional skate or something like that. But we'd have like an activation if we're not on the ice, so just kind of outside, and you just do some mobility, maybe play a game of some sort, and just like staying active a little bit, so you're not just sitting around all day. And then like you just you go outside, you'll go for walks, like just explore the village, like hang out with teammates and stuff. You just find things to do. You go eat, and depending the timing, like you could go see like other sports play as well. Yeah, so that's always a fun thing, just being able to go to another sport and cheering on Team Canada, because you just feel like one big team. You're not just the hockey team; it's like your Team Canada. So being able to do that is pretty fun too. So usually on days off, we'll do that as well.
Tired of spending hours emailing coaches with no idea if they're even reading your messages? Champs App Messaging is the fast, easy way to send personalized, error-free emails and know exactly when they've been opened. The coach's name, school, and email are automatically populated for you, so every message is accurate and complete. Choose from smart templates that pull your details directly from your Champs App profile, whether you're sharing your schedule or a new video. Cut your email time in half and finally see which teams are showing interest. One parent told us, what used to take a whole evening now takes under 2 hours. Champs App Messaging. Faster, smarter recruiting. Made easy. And how much are you interacting with other athletes from Team Canada or even other countries? Obviously, you have your own common areas or you have space for yourself. But I understand one of the coolest things is that like everybody's just an athlete there, and doesn't matter if you're a superstar from the NHL or an amazing world #1 figure skater. Everybody's the same there. They're on the same level when it comes to the eating areas and whatever other areas that you might be congregating in.
Yeah, I think a lot of athletes really like that, especially, especially like NHL players and stuff. Like everyone's treated the same. We're all kind of on the same playing field. And usually, athletes feel pretty comfortable walking around. They're not like bugged too much if they are, one of the more famous athletes. But it is pretty neat to see, like, and you definitely interact with a lot. Like, obviously 2022 was a lot different because it was COVID, and you had to be pretty careful who you're interacting with. But generally, like 2018 and 2014, like especially 2014, the NHL guys there, we were able to hang out with them a lot, and celebrate once they won, because we won before they did. So after that, we were able to celebrate with them and stuff, which was pretty fun. But there's a lot of interaction, especially getting to know just different athletes from different sports from Team Canada, because we're all kind of in the same area and we have the same common room and everything. It's a little bit harder to, I mean, you see other athletes all the time, but you generally stick with your own country for the most part. And you interact with quite a few, like you become friends by the end of the Olympics with all these different athletes, which is pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so it's still a pretty hectic schedule for in 2 weeks. I believe you're playing 6 or 7 games during that period of time, depending how successful you are. Obviously, you're going to the finals every time that you were there, or the gold medal game, I should say. How does the coaching staff make adjustments after each game? Because I mean, this is literally the Olympics for the coaching staff too. Like they must be fully obsessed, fully engaged in every second. And as wonderful as it is to be a player, the amount of hours that the coaches put in is usually a multiple of how many hours the players put in, because
Yeah.
they're looking at video, they're having conversations, they're making key decisions about the team and the roster and the style of play. How much adjustments do they make, and how do they communicate that to the players?
Yeah, I think we're constantly interacting with the coaches. We're constantly having meetings, and like, if we have a power play meeting, like the coach is there and we're like, okay, we're gonna adjust this, or like this is what we're doing. And it's constant meetings throughout the whole 2 weeks there during competition. Because there's always adjustments that have to be made. Someone could get injured, someone, like, there's a lot of things that happen that you might not expect. So coaches have to be on their toes and be able to make adjustments even in game situations. So I think for the coaches, just making it clear to all the athletes, like, so we know what's going on. And it's a very small window, competition. So we have to really make sure there's clear communication. And the coaches do put a lot of time in. I didn't realize this till after you're done playing, but like the coaches, are watching video, they're staying up late every night, getting it ready for the next day, especially after a game. So they put in a lot of time, and I'm sure by the end of the Olympics they're pretty exhausted, but it's obviously well worth it.
So how many conversations, like, are they having individual conversations with you in addition to like the special teams and just the regular 5-on-5 conversations?
I think, yeah, like, I mean, you're always kind of having conversations, like the coach, like the coach would come up, if they feel like they need to talk to you about something, or just, talk about the game the next day, or if they thought, here's something that I noticed, or, you did really well here, or like just seeing how you're feeling, like checking in. I think it's really important for coaches to do that, because they get a feel for the players and how they're feeling and what's going on. And so yeah, there's a constant, and it just could be like a little one, like you're skating around before practice, like before practice is going to start, and they talk to you for like a couple minutes when you're just skating around shooting pucks, like something like that. It doesn't all have to be like one-on-one formal meetings. Like, we don't generally do that in the competition. But there are definitely a lot of check-ins and little side meetings like that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let's get to actual kind of game stuff. So in the preliminary round, the way they've grouped it, there's like Group A and Group B. Group A is clearly the top 5 teams, I believe it is, and they all play each other once. So it's Finland, Switzerland, Czechia, and of course the U.S. And obviously they saved the U.S. game for the last, just to build up the hype. So what's your mindset and the team's mindset for each one of those games as they go through it? Like, how hard is it not to look forward to and over, start thinking already about that US game when you're probably going to beat Switzerland and you're probably going to beat Finland easily, and then whatever else happens next.
Yeah, I think it's easy to jump ahead and think, like, about the game against the US, because those are obviously the most like competitive, and the rivalry is really strong there. And I think what we're trained to do, though, is really focus on like the game ahead, right? And taking it day by day and step by step. So I'm trying not to get too focused on, the Olympic finals and all these things. Like there's a lot of hurdles and things you have to go through leading up to before, that final or before the game against the US. So um it's important. It's easy to start to look forward to that game, but it's important to, because every game's important. It helps with your progression, and you want to be able to take steps each and every game, right? So you want to keep improving throughout the tournament until the final. So we have to use every game as a stepping stone, and something that will help prepare us for those games, the qualifying games for sure. So yeah, that's kind of the mental piece of just really sticking with it and day by day.
Can you remember a time where you guys, you probably still ended up winning the game, but you like clearly did not have a great game, and there was like a lot to learn from in one of those preliminary games, and how the coaching staff and the team adjusted to it? I don't know, maybe you had a tough game against Sweden, or you had a hot goaltender in Finland. Like there must have been a game somewhere along the way in the preliminaries where you had a little bit of a scare for a moment or two.
Do you know what? There definitely were. I can't remember like which Olympics it was, but like there's always been teams where they've given us a hard time. Especially at Worlds. I remember the one year when we won bronze at Worlds. I know we're talking about Olympics right now, but Finland, we like outshot them I don't even know, like by like 50 shots. Like we were just all over them and we could not score, and then had a hot goalie, and they ended up scoring a goal and beating us. And that stuff happens, right? You have to be prepared for that, and it's on us to be like, we need to bury some of those chances that we had. And the same with the Olympics. Like there definitely have been some closer games for sure, but I Sochi, the final game, like I would say majority of the game we weren't playing our best, and the US definitely outplayed us. In that last 5 minutes there, we were able to come back from a 2-0 deficit and tie it up, and then won in overtime. So really anything can happen, and so you really do have to put your best foot forward and play every game to your best of your ability, because yeah, things happen. There's a hot goalie, you can't score. Like a lot of the teams are getting better, so there's opportunity there for those teams. They can win those games sometimes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let's get to the most important part of the conversation. Playing the US. So this episode's coming out the Monday before the Tuesday that you guys are going to play in the preliminary round. So what's going through your mind the night before you go to bed knowing you're playing the US the next day?
Gosh, I feel like there's obviously a lot of excitement, and you're pumped up, and these are the games like that you play for. These are the exciting games that like everyone wants to play a close game where there's close competition, and against the US there's a lot of rivalry and hatred there between the two countries when we step on the ice. So yeah, like you're super excited, and sometimes a little bit hard to sleep or get to bed. But I try not to focus on it till the day of, right, leading up to the game, and getting that excitement and stuff kind of out of the way, because you don't want to start dwelling on it, especially the night before, because it might affect your sleep and you get too excited. So it's just managing your like levels of energy, right? Like you don't want to be too high or too low, so just trying to stay even keel until kind of you get on the ice for warm up is the main thing for me. Like, okay, then you can look around and like, oh wow, like we're in it. This is about to happen, and have that excitement, and take that moment to really enjoy it.
How do you handle your nerves at that point? And I'm not talking after you've done through it 4 times. I'm talking like the first time you went through that
Yeah.
experience. Do you remember what it was like back in, what's the math, 2010 in Vancouver?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was so nervous, like especially against the US, like because you just know it's going to be such a close game. And but there was just a way where I just really just tried to focus on every shift. So in the warm up, I felt way more nervous than when I was playing the game. Because in the warm ups, you just have a lot of time to think. You're thinking about everything. But then once you get into the game, you just get so in the moment and so involved in the game, like you're not really thinking about anything else. So it's just trying to do everything to the best of your ability each and every shift. So just trying to focus on the now and the next shift coming up.
All right, so give us a little inside baseball on this one. Like, how much talking smack is there once the puck drops? Like, I know for sure Abby Murphy is going to be going out there and getting people's faces, during these Olympics. I mean, that's just her style. She's just nonstop. She's got no fear, and she's got all the skill, if not more, to back it up. I'm just curious, like, I'm sure there are people on the U.S. team who are telling you that you're going down, and whatever other words that they're going to use to that implies that they want to win and they want to make you feel it.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot. I mean, like, how can there not? We're both competitive teams, right? We're all competitive on each team, and we all want to represent our country to the best, and win a gold medal for our country. So there's definitely a lot of trash talk. I'm not very good at it, and doesn't come naturally to me. So I kind of stay out of that. But I've had line mates like Haley Irwin was awesome with that. Like she was really witty and was able to throw things at them. And so you have those people on the ice, like Abby Murphy is one on the US that I can't stand playing against, to be honest. And I'm sure most people would say the same. She does well, getting under people's skin. And then, like, there's just a ton of players that really do like chirp at each other and try to get any advantage you can, right? Is the main thing.
Got it. All right. So no matter what happens after you play the US for the first time, it kind of doesn't matter because you're both making it to the quarterfinal round and you're moving forward, just a matter of the seedings as a result of that. How do you put that game behind you no matter what, and then get ready for the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and then assuming that you're going to play the US in the finals? What's that process like? Because it's got to be different than preparing for the preliminaries, because you can't afford any mistakes at that point.
Yeah, I think, but again, like, what you work on is you're trying to prepare for each game the same way. So I'm not going into a game like feeling different or trying to do something different than I do on a regular basis, right? Like, you don't want to put too much emphasis on a game. So I think just sticking with the things that and being consistent with your warm-ups and the things you do leading up to the game. Like, I like to visualize. I do some visualization before I step on the ice, so stuff like that. Like, I try to just keep it consistent and keep each game like it's the final most important game of the Olympics. And I know it's easier said than done, but your mind does wander sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's like every game is important. Like, you gotta play well and and use each game as a stepping stone, right, to get to that final.
Got it. Okay, so you mentioned something like you do some mental exercises before you get on the ice and while you're on the ice. In previous podcasts, I've had both U.S. mental performance coaches on from all the Olympics that you were at, and they had some really great insight. In fact, I would encourage everybody to go listen to those episodes. But what role do the Canadian mental performance coaches role play in helping you get ready and the team prepare? Because literally, as you've seen it firsthand, literally, like 10 seconds or 15 seconds can completely change what color medal you get.
Exactly, yeah. They're a huge part, right? Like, I really stress the importance of the mental side, and I think I didn't take that part seriously when I was younger playing. Once I started getting older, you realize like how important that it's a huge part of the game, right? If you have the mental side dialed in, like, you can overcome a lot of adversity and things that don't go your way. So our mental performance coaches do a great job just getting the team. We do like team mental performance sessions. Just getting us all on the same page and then going through things that might occur, some of the adversity that might occur and how we adapt and overcome. And so it's just all that preparation leading up to the Olympics, and then they're there throughout the whole Olympics, and we'll have a couple meetings throughout the Olympics, but they're there for those one-on-one conversations. If you're struggling, with something, like you're not scoring, or like you're not playing very well, like, how do I overcome this? Like, so you talk with them, and they've been very personable and easy to talk to and help you through that on an individual basis as well.
Gotcha. And we need to kind of start wrapping up the Olympic side of things and move into the Lora Athlete side of things. What's What's it like playing in that gold medal game against the U.S.? How are you feeling during it, and what's your mindset? I know you're going to say it. We try and treat the game the same every time and all that
Yeah.
kind of. But the reality is, it's not. You know, it's not. And somewhere inside you, there's a little voice saying, "Oh my God, this is the gold medal game." What? How are you feeling? Obviously, you probably got used to it after a few times. But what's going through your mind during that 2 to 2.5 hour time period?
I think yeah, like it's so many things. Like you think about a lot, but you're like, oh my god, like in the next 2.5 hours, like like we could have a gold medal, like when like all my dreams could come true. So it's hard not to think of those things. And I think a big part too, especially my first Olympics, was like, okay, just don't screw up, right? Too bad, that costs us and a gold medal, right? So when I was young, like that's what I was thinking, like just don't screw up, which is probably not the best thing to think of, but at points throughout the game, I'm like, okay, just like keep it simple, just get it out, like don't make mistakes, right? And as the more you go into these situations, I think 2014, like I went into that final, obviously still thinking oh, like this is a big game, all this stuff, but I definitely had more confidence in my abilities, I would say, in that final game, just carrying the puck more and being able to create plays instead of just trying to keep it simple and get it out so I don't screw anything up, kind of thing. So like just a different mental piece and being there once before and having that confidence, um, I think obviously really helps as well. So for me, yeah, just trying not to screw up too badly was the main thing when I was younger, for sure.
All right, we'll get to. I'll try and wrap this up right now on the Olympics. At what moment do you know you've won the gold medal, and what starts going through your mind about how you and how are you feeling at that point once you know it's done?
Like at what point in the game do I?
Yeah, what like well, obviously, if it's an overtime game, you're only going to know when the
Yeah,
puck goes in
yeah.
the net, or there's a shootout type of thing, which also happened. But like at some point, what's that moment like when it's been decided you've won gold, and how
Yeah.
are you feeling going forward?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I'm always kind of like, well, like, a couple minutes left, we're up 2 goals. Like in Vancouver, I'm still like, oh, well, like they could score, so I'm not like celebrating them. But maybe, yeah, the last like minute, we're up 2 goals. I'm like, okay, like I can't believe we're gonna like win a gold medal. And you're just trying to like contain yourself and keep composed, right, to be able to play out the last minute. But that feeling, yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and it's obviously something you can't replicate doing anything else, right? It's that feeling that you dreamt of, right, ever since I was a little girl, like just being able to win a gold medal for Canada, like just being on that Olympic team, getting that gold medal around your neck, like there's no other feeling, and it's really hard to describe, but um, it's yeah, it's just an amazing feeling. It's very surreal. Like you don't feel like it's real for quite a while, even quite a while after the Olympics. Like especially my first one, I still didn't feel it was real. Like months later, like it was wild. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing all that stuff about the Olympics. I actually even thought of more questions I would want to ask you if we had more time. But let's get into Lora Athletes and talk about how you're helping the next generation basically have the kind of career that you had. Maybe just tell folks what Lora Athletes is all about. Give them the quick elevator pitch.
Yeah, and it's called Lora Athletes Advisors, and me and my partner Krista, we decided to, you know, start this company because we both have a huge passion for female hockey. We see the growth of the women's game and how far it's come. And for me, like to be able to share everything that I went through throughout my career and be able to help girls accomplish their dreams of playing NCAA or U Sport or playing in the PWHL or making the national team, like whatever their goals are. I feel like I've learned so much throughout my career that I wish when I was younger I knew a lot of the things that I knew now. And so I want to help those girls when they're younger, learn those things at an earlier age and be able to accomplish and be a mentor for them and help them grow on and off the ice and be strong women, you know, off the ice and be like great hockey players on the ice. So just helping them, develop. So that we do a lot of development stuff and mentorship. So it's just a huge passion of mine and something that I feel like I want every girl to be able to accomplish and do the things I was so lucky and fortunate to get to do.
All right. So if young Rebecca Johnson was looking for a mentor, what would current Rebecca Johnson tell young Rebecca Johnson when she was 10, 11, or 12 years old now? Because you've gotten all that experience now that you're able to share.
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think the first thing would be to like just enjoy it, like to just have fun. Like hockey's such an incredible sport, but at the end it's a game, right? And I feel like when I was younger, put so much pressure on myself, to to make the team, to like produce, to do all these things. Like I put so much pressure on myself that I started at points in my career to not enjoy what I was doing. So I think the main thing is just like, go back and to remember the first time like you fell in love with the sport, and like just go back to that moment when you're putting all this pressure on yourself to try to accomplish all these incredible dreams, right? So I would tell first off, say like enjoy the moment and just be present, and just remember that it is at the end of the day a fun sport to play, and so to really enjoy it. And I think the other thing would be just to believe in myself more, and have confidence. Like it's kind of weird to say because I'm like, oh, like I made, been on the Olympic team for like for 4 Olympics, and I made it at a young age. But like I can tell you that I was not confident throughout that whole time, like in my abilities. Did not believe in myself. There's a lot of moments I doubted myself, a lot of moments where, before the 2010 Olympics, even I didn't even want to centralize because I was like, there's no way I'm going to make this team. And like, I take a year off school, like, like all these things. And I just wish I was like more of a confident player when I was younger. So I think just believing in yourself, and yeah, don't let anyone say you can't do something.
Yeah, I imagine there's a bunch of people listening now saying, "I can't believe she didn't think she was ready to play on the Olympic team in
Yeah.
2010," and then look back on it now and go like, duh, like it seems pretty obvious that you were ready for that moment. So maybe help we'll kind of work from the top kind of down. So I know on the Lora Athletes website you have over a dozen clients that are in the PWHL today. Maybe just talk about what your agency does with the professionals, and then maybe work our way younger through the college ranks and the youth ranks.
Sure, yeah. So it's two types. So there's the agency side. So Lora Athletes is the agency side, and then Lora Athletes Advisors. So I'm on the advisor side. So we're advising the young kids. Krista Kirsch, she's an agent. So she has a bunch of college girls, and then and then a lot of obviously PWHL players. She's got like 21, I think, in the league. So she kind of works on that, and that's more of like the contract stuff, and getting opportunities for these girls in the PWHL. So after college, and then endorsements and stuff like that, where I'm more on the advisor side. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so what exactly do you do with like either pros or college players on the advising side and the development side?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll watch some video and tape review and stuff, but for the most part, like they kind of stay on that's kind of more on the agency side. And the advisors, the reason for the advisory side is, we want to target like around 12 to 15, 16 years old. Like we want that long runway with players to help develop them, help them develop on the ice, off the ice. We have a mental performance coach. We have, I would do video and stuff with them, and go over their shifts and kind of pinpoint key areas of improvement, and some of their strengths, and just kind of help mentor them throughout this process of like their career path of where should they play next, or like what schools do they want to go to, like target schools. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we do, but generally it's just like a mentorship, development program where we help these girls achieve their goals.
And is it all done like remotely, or do you do anything, one-on-one, in Calgary or other areas? I saw a few weeks ago, I think for Hockey Day in Canada, you were traveling around the country. How do you actually work with the athletes in person versus, via virtually?
Yeah, so we're doing it all over. So getting girls from all over playing North America, even Europe, like is an option as well. And we can do so much virtually, which is great. So, doing video virtually is fine. The mental performance, stuff we can do virtually. So everything you can do virtually. But obviously, in Calgary area, like I can have a couple now where, we can go and watch them play live and, meet with them live, which is really, really nice. And then could potentially even jump on the ice with them as well if they want that. So obviously in the Calgary area, that's a lot easier. So if players anywhere else, it's more the kind of advising you can do from afar. You really can do everything from afar, which is nice. Yeah, so kind of players from all over.
And which kind of players do you think are best to reach out to you if they're interested in working with you? Is it just like your average player who just plays girls hockey at 12 years old, or should they be ones that are already on track to potentially play on the under 18s team for either Canada or the US? What kind of filtering or criteria do you think people should have for working with you?
I think the criteria, I mean, it could be all kind of levels. I think the criteria really is like we want people that are like, good people. So good females, good girls that are like want to learn, that want to accomplish, something bigger and jump to that next level, and have the desire. So it's like hardworking girls that want to get better, right? Those are the main girls that we want to work with, and that girls that have goals and aspirations, because we want to help achieve them, for them. Like we want to help guide them throughout their process, and obviously, like talented girls, like every hockey player, like there's areas of improvement. They need to get better in certain areas. Like even I was growing up, like there's always areas of improvement. Even near the end of my career, when I was at my best, like there's always areas that I want to improve and work on. And so it doesn't matter the level, you can be like the best player. And I still feel like there's areas where I can help, help guide them. And it doesn't matter, they're not, oh, I don't need any help because I'm the best player. It's, like, how can I keep getting better? Because players are continuously putting in the work and trying to get better. And if you don't keep getting better each year, then you'll start to fall back, right? So that improvement needs to continuously happen. And so the main players we want to work with are those driven players. If they're really talented players that are on that track, we'd love to work with them. If they're the average player that has room to grow, that I think we can really, take them to that next level, like we'd love to work with them. Even players that, might not be at the level they want yet, but, we just want to help improve them on the ice and off the ice. So I think it doesn't necessarily matter what level, it's the ambition and the drive they have.
Yeah, and I just want to. I know that we recently had Courtney Kessel, head coach of Princeton, on the podcast, and she commented and was amazed at how Marie-Philippe Poulin every year would come back better than she was the year before. And she was already kind of the best player in the world, but yet she continued and continues to work on her game every year, which is why she's been able to be so good for so long. Let me transition this into asking you how you help athletes on the advising side. Are you helping them, teaching them the recruiting process, or are you also doing more like on the men's side, where you actually reaching out to coaches on behalf of players to kind of say, hey, make sure you take a look at my player, and things like that? Like, how do you strike the balance in helping the player to do it themselves versus you doing it, and how much do you get involved in the recruiting process?
I think we'll get involved as much as we need to. I think like for us, we're creating those relationships with the coaches, and they know what we're doing, and we want to provide players that will best suit their programs. And so, yeah, like we'd definitely be reaching out and just helping with their career path. So like helping them choose, our clients, like what schools, are you interested in? Like what kind of realistically, what schools will you thrive and be most happy at? Because I think there's a lot more that comes into picking a school than just, oh, they have a really good program. Well, it's like, well, like, are you going to play at that school if you go, or like, do they have, do you feel comfortable and at home, like on the campus, like do the coaching staff and everyone like suit your type of playing style, and do you feel like you'll improve there and develop there, in that program? So like there's a lot of important things when choosing a school, and so kind of helping with that process as well, and because I know it can be daunting and it can be like really intimidating trying to figure all that out, and then also just the process of like how it all works, and just again just kind of guiding through that whole process.
And if you're looking to go to an Ivy League school, you may know some people in the Ivy League that you might be able to help guide them on what that
Yeah,
process is
exactly.
like and what they're looking for, right? I'm
Yeah,
sure Doug Darrow would love for you to do some referrals for some top end players
yeah.
to Cornell. Beautiful. So if folks wanted to learn more about Lora Athletes and potentially even reach out to you, how would they do that?
Yeah, so you can visit our website at loraathletes.com /advisors. And there's contact information there, so you can reach out. You can also reach out on my Instagram. So it's rjohnst6 on Instagram. So you just send me a message on there. Or yeah, there's an email and everything on the website there. So loraathletes.com.
Perfect. All right, last question. What advice do you have for youth female players who want to have the success that you've had in their careers, starting with just going and playing NCAA D1?
So advice when they're playing D1 or
in order to get there, like
in order to get there.
From a player development perspective.
Yeah. I would say like you need to have the work ethic and passion. I feel like if you have the talent alone, just talent, like you need that work ethic and hard work and putting in the time and sacrifice as well, because talent won't get you to the top solely on talent. Like you still need that drive and motivation to get better each and every day. Like you're talking about Mary Philip Pillay, like like you need to have that work ethic, and you need to show that on the ice, because the talent alone won't get you there. So I would say like hard work, like literally just hard work and putting the time in and working on some of your weaknesses, and just wanting to see that those improvements are huge for you to make it to that next level. Because if you have that passion and that drive, that's like that's half the battle, right? So you got to bring that every day, and just love the game, and just want to get better each and every day.
Perfect. Well, Rebecca, I want to thank you so much for talking with me again. This has been incredibly insightful into what it's like to be at the Olympics, and then obviously learning about everything that you're doing at Lora Athletes, and your advice clearly on what it takes to be like you and be the best of the best. So thank you so much for doing this, and enjoy the Olympics, and hopefully we'll see Canada and the US in the finals once again, and may the best team win.
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I really want to thank Rebecca for coming on the podcast. She shared some awesome insights into her Olympic experiences. If you want to learn more about Lora Athletes and Rebecca's player development advising, please check out their website via the link in the show notes.